Hello, hello! Welcome back to the Acadian Garden and Apothecary. My name is Danae and I love teaching folks all about the edible and medicinal plants found growing right in your own backyard. It has been over a month since I've last made a YouTube video. I apologize for that. I'm usually much better about getting my videos out at least once every 2 weeks. We have just been super busy. We just finished building a huge chicken coop and have been putting up a bunch of deer fencing this spring, so we've just been really busy with larger homestead projects. And I know a lot of channels will record their constructions. It's such an overwhelming process for me that I just didn't want to videotape all of that. So me and my husband have been doing a bunch of earthwork. We got 6 chickens in May and they accidentally ordered 6 more for us in June. So we now have 12 hens. Well, we'll see if any of them are roosters, but right now we think we have 12 hens. Anyway, today I wanted to get back to the roots of this channel and do a video on herbs. Today we're going to be talking about how to make your own sleepy time tea. We'll look at the science behind why these different herbs work for helping with things like relaxation and sleep. And then we'll also go over how to grow these herbs in a cold environment. I am in zones, we're right on the cusp of zones 4 and 5 for cold hardiness. So most sleep-promoting herbs work by affecting a chemical in our brains called gamma-aminobutyric acid, or for short, GABA. So this chemical functions like your brain's off switch. When GABA is activated, it tells your nervous system to calm down and prepare for rest. So let's look at the herbs that can affect your GABA production: chamomile and valerian. German chamomile, also known as Matricaria chamomilla, is probably one of the most famous sleep herbs, and for a good reason. Studies from the National Institute of Health show that chamomile contains a compound called Apigenin that binds with the same brain receptors as prescription sleep medications like Ambien, but without the side effects. A number of studies show that it also helps you sleep faster and reduces nighttime awakenings. German chamomile is a self-seeding annual, meaning that while it dies after one season, it readily grows back again from seed the following spring. Plant chamomile once, and as long as you leave a few flowers to go to seed, you will definitely have chamomile popping up in your garden year after year. Valerian, or Valeriana officinalis, has often been called nature's Valium because it works similar to prescription anxiety medication. Studies published in the National Institute of Health show that valerian increases GABA levels in the brain by blocking the enzyme that breaks GABA down. Valerian also contains chemical constituents that increase the levels of melatonin, dopamine, and serotonin in the brain, all chemicals that help you sleep. Speaking of serotonin, let's take a look at lavender, one of our supporting herbs. So who doesn't love a good lavender scented bath bomb or a linen spray? Lavender's aromatherapy is well known, but it also contains some pretty neat chemical constituents that help to promote a good night's rest when inhaled as a steam or aroma or ingested as a tea. Lavender contains linalool, a compound that inhibits calcium channels and reduces serotonin receptor activity. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which literally tells your body to switch into relaxation mode. In my cold climate, I am growing 2 varieties of lavender, Munstead and Hidcote lavender. Might also be pronounced Hidcote, I'm not 100% sure. But both of these can survive in zone 5 climates. So I am right on the cusps of zone 4 and 5 and have managed to keep my lavender alive each winter. One thing that helps well is to cover it with a mulch right before your first frost hits. Just helps to keep the soil insulated and protects the roots. Lavender responds well to heavy cutting to promote new growth and rarely needs to be watered. Next is lemon balm, one of my personal favorites for its lovely smell and its ability to significantly reduce anxiety. I have a whole video covering the benefits of lemon balm and how to make a lemon balm tincture, so check out that video in the link above if you're interested in seeing that full breakdown of the health benefits of lemon balm. Lemon balm is a powerhouse for both anxiety and sleep. Recent studies published in the National Institute of Health shows that it significantly reduces anxiety and depression scores while improving sleep quality. A study as recent as 2024 found that lemon balm extract reduced insomnia severity scores by 2.9 points and improved sleep quality by 87% compared to only 30% with a placebo. The reason lemon balm works so well is because of its active compound, rosmarinic acid, which inhibits GABA breakdown and directly binds to GABA receptors. It also affects what's called acetylcholine receptors, a compound that helps both with relaxation and cognitive function. This is an extremely cold-hardy plant that can survive negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and produces a lovely lemon scent that makes it a great replacement for lemongrass in your sleepy time blend. Okay, now let's talk about a sleep support herb that may surprise you, catnip. Don't let the name fool you. Catnip is not just for cats. In fact, it has the opposite effect on humans, producing a calming sedative effect. Catnip contains chemicals called Nepeta lactones and linalool, which can both have moderate sedative effects. Research exploring anxiety models found that catnip significantly reduced anxiety-like behaviors without causing unwanted side effects. Like lemon balm, catnip is in the mint family and is extremely cold-hardy and spreads easily by seed or by rhizomatous root growth. All right, so we are finally ready to start making our sleepy time blend. I'm going to be mixing all of our herbs in this metal bowl here. So we drink a lot of tea in my household, so I'm hoping that this jar here will hold a year's worth of sleepy time blend. We'll see how that goes. So as I'm mixing these herbs, I just wanted to quickly explain to you the idea of parts in measuring your dried herbs for making teas. So if you could imagine if you had a tea blend that was 4 cups of herbs, and 1 cup was lavender, 1 cup was mint, the other 2 cups were raspberry leaf. This is just like a random tea blend. The way that we do parts is in ratios, so it's easy to scale up and you don't have to worry about whether the parts were measured in cups or by weight. It's just the ratio of different types of herbs blended together. So in this example where you have 4 parts, which are in this case measured in cups, you would have 2 parts raspberry leaf, 1 part, what was it that I said? 1 part lavender, and 1 part mint. So that's kind of how we use parts in making herbal tea blends. And this is going to be kind of a random tea blend based on what I have available. I will write down this blend so that if I really like it, I can replicate it next year. So first we're going to start with our heavy hitters. We have our chamomile, and I like to vacuum seal my dried herbs. If you're interested in knowing what I use, I think I have the device right here. Super useful, comes with a small mouth lid and wide mouth jar attachment, so you can switch depending on what size jars you have. But you just stick it right on top of the jar and press this little button on the top. Vacuum seals it, gets rid of most of the oxygen in the jar, which means your herbs will last much longer and smell and taste fresher throughout the year. All right, so we are going to pry these jars open. I hope I can do it with my fingers. There we go. Sometimes I need to use a jar opener. I'm going to pour this right over our blending jar. Let's see what we have here. This 1 cup chamomile, 2 cups, 3, call that 4.5. All right, so this is a rough estimate. This is about 5 cups of chamomile. You can be more specific. You can weigh everything out if you want. This is just a really rough blend. Just have fun with it, don't worry too much about getting the ratios absolutely perfect. All right, so we have 5 cups of chamomile, just for good measure. I'm going to pull out my journal and write that down so I don't forget. All right, so that is our GABA inhibitor ingredient. We're going to add our second GABA inhibitor ingredient, which is our valerian root. So I pulled up a plant just the other day. There's still some leaf matter on top. Really interesting. Valerian root has a very strong, distinct odor. I don't personally find it very pleasant. My husband didn't seem to mind it, but just something interesting. When I pulled this out of the ground, I was a little bit surprised by the smell. This is my first time working with valerian root in a tea. And what we're going to do, you can use the leaves. The leaves do have some of the same benefits as the roots, but it is more potent in the roots. So we're going to cut this up with a pair of scissors. Just try to get it as fine as possible, because roots, when you're adding it to a tea blend, they don't release their beneficial constituents as easily as you might get from leaves and flowers. So the smaller you're able to chop that up or even powder it, the more of the benefits you'll get with each cup of tea. And normally I would powder this. I used to have a great blender. It was a Vitamix that we had received as a gift from my father-in-law. Super old, but worked extremely well. I want to say that Vitamix was almost 30 years old, so it was really up there. We tried replacing one of the blades when it stopped working as well, and it never really worked quite the same. When we replaced the blade, it didn't quite match up properly, even though we tried to order the correct part. And it was honestly kind of dangerous to use. So we ended up retiring the Vitamix, and it was really good at powdering roots. I used to use it for things like dandelion and burdock. So then I went to order a new Vitamix, and wow, those are extremely expensive. I mean, it was like, if I wanted to get one that was the same size as the one that we had, I didn't realize it might have been a commercial grade Vitamix. I mean, it was like $2,000, $3,000 or so. Yeah. Wasn't buying a new Vitamix anytime soon. I ended up getting like a little KitchenAid food processor, which is great for chopping things, but not as great for powdering roots. Not a huge deal. We can cut this down pretty finely and still get plenty of medicinal benefits from it. So if you, like me, don't want to spend $2,000 on a Vitamix, pair of scissors and chopping it with a knife work just fine. The nice thing about herbal medicine is that it's supposed to be accessible to everyone. Anywhere that you can grow food, or even if maybe you have to, order your herbs online, medicine making with herbs should be accessible to everyone, which is one of the things that I appreciate so much about it. I know I can share this knowledge, these tips and tricks with you, and feel fairly confident that you'll be able to find a way to replicate the process in your own home with your own kitchen tools, or maybe even some of the ingredients you have in your kitchen. Lots of culinary herbs are also medicinal herbs. All right, so we've chopped that up pretty finely. I'm going to add this to our cup measure, see approximately how much this is. This looks like 1/4 cup of valerian root. So we're going to add that in. So next on our list are our calming herbs, the herbs that help with anxiety and might also have some sedative effects. So we will be adding in some lemon balm, Melissa officinalis. Now our catnip. So you may have noticed with my Sleepy Time blend, I don't have access to herbs like hawthorn or tilia flowers, which are usually the ingredients you will see in, say, like a celestial seasoning Sleepy Time. So some of these herbs are substitutes, as you'll see on the ingredient list that I'll have showing up on this video. And that's the great thing about herbs. If you don't have something growing in your region, or maybe you're allergic to some of the ingredients, there's almost always a substitute that has a similar benefit. So I like to think of this as my New England Sleepy Time. This is a cold climate. sleep supplement that I can grow all of these herbs in my region. All right, so we've added our catnip and our lemon balm, our relaxation and sedative herbs. Also for anxiety as well, which is, I imagine if you're anxious, it would make it very hard for one to relax. Our next ingredient is lavender. This is really just extra with the benefits that you get from the lemon balm and the catnip. This might not be necessary, but I just love the smell and even the flavor of lavender in my teas. So I just wanted to add a little bit. I think I maybe have 1 cup's worth here. So this is kind of like my luxury ingredient. Yeah, 1 cup lavender. So our final 2 ingredients, I like to think of these as flavor enhancers, but they also bulk up your tea. Not to say that these don't have tons of medicinal benefits. Mint is great for the digestive system, and if you're ever having trouble with your digestive system, that can really affect your sleep. So this is always great holistically for helping with a better night's rest. And raspberry leaf has a very nice slightly acidic flavor to it when you add it to teas. This is more true when you use fresh raspberry leaf, but this is great as well. I've been harvesting from wild raspberry, so this could be a blend of red raspberry and even some blackberries. The Rubus family, the leaves have very similar benefits. Raspberry leaves are great for women's health. They also have lots of minerals in it. That's great for your bone health, like calcium and manganese. And what this is really going to do is help to bulk up our tea so that it lasts longer. And then, of course, you also get some of the medicinal benefits as well. So we're going to add probably this whole jar of raspberry leaves, because these have been vacuum sealed, but they are over a year old and I would like to get them out of rotation. All right, so we've got our raspberry leaf and we're going to call that 3 cups. And finally, we're going to add all of this mint as well. So we will do a rough measure of that. Looks like we got 3 cups of mint. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to mix this blend, squeeze it, try to break down some of these leaves into smaller pieces because we want this to be able to easily fit in our tea balls, and the smaller the pieces, the easier that will be. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is if your herbs are really dry, they are going to throw up particulates and it will get into your nose and it can be very irritating. So if you are concerned about that, I would definitely recommend putting on some kind of face mask so that you don't inhale all of the herb dust that comes off of this. It smells amazing though. Lots of lavender and chamomile and mint smells coming off of this right now. Alright, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make your own sleepy time tea blend, as well as the science behind why these herbs work to help support our anxiety, relaxation, and of course sleep. If you enjoyed this video, please show your support by hitting that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you very soon in the next one.